They are gendered. 2-part sex split, male and female. Your dad was doing their best to present their incredible findings to the High Star Council of the Yeshtan Yotan. By all means, this should be a monumental moment. From juvenile to full-fledged adult scientist, your dad had watched and wondered as its species had perfected the first truly space-capable, star-jumping no less, vessels. It had read countless science fiction novels. It had gone all the way to an alien world at the Council's whims, and yet the Council... well, they weren't quite the dreamer your dad was.
They are feral, then. Bestial.
Garsax was one of the most influential council members, and it was also a master pessimist. It raised its limbs and dropped them dismissively, its disc-centered eye blinking 3 times.
Did it just...
Your dad curled a limb with offense.
No, Councillor.
Your dad dripped chemicals into the water tube connecting his audience bubble to the council sphere.
They possess obvious intelligence and complex civilization.
We do not even need to go down to the surface properly to understand this fact. They have vehicles, public art, and dozens of other signs of cooperative higher thinking.
So a hive mind, like insects.
Garsax pondered, returning chemicals. The whole council twirled in agreement. Your dad hated politicians. They didn't belong on serious spaceships.
It is understood that only animals have ever displayed the need for mating-based reproduction and biological divides. This is true.
And there's a few thousand minor species that behave a lot like us in our homeworld alone, but digression.
But these are aliens. Other intelligent life from different circumstances. Heightened aggression feels likely.
Garsax started. The rest of the council picked up the chorus of ignorance.
What if they are hostile due to their instincts?
Beasts value pleasure and small needs above all else. Intelligence doesn't mean they can't be feral.
If they have civilization, what of it? They are predisposed towards selfishness.
What if they try to force us to mate for diplomacy? Disgusting! Your dad slightly rotated, fully aware the council was communicating at it, but not with it. It turned to its own devices, knowing how long it could take for that line of conversation to disperse. It started pulling up images, audio, video. The aliens had been sending out signals in a very inefficient but informative pattern for who knows how long. It pulled up the image that seemed to be intended to convey the alien people's biological information. This was going to be a long, draining effort. Your dad just hoped it would make decent progress before it died. Someone tore off a limb, and his next of kin picked up the effort.
High Council. High Blockade, more like.
Ray Lu had watched an alien ship suddenly appear in the solar system, promptly begin to idle for almost a full year, and wondered the whole time if it was actually just some distant civilization's traffic accident debris. Usually you'd expect the sudden arrival of aliens to include more, well, fanfare. A war, maybe. Some existential crisis. She had one in front of her now, finally. Well, she had a few dozen, but only one seemed worth paying attention to. They'd wanted to perform the information exchange part of First Contact in their own vessel. All of them looked like colourful, cyclops-eyed discs with tentacles. Most sat in some sort of habitation bubble, or perhaps just formal seating, with one limb dangling near a system of fluid-carrying tubes. She spoke to one of them in Braille, the only one that was standing in open space, tentacles bunched beneath it. It wasn't perfect, at all, but it seemed to be the only way of communicating with the extraterrestrials that wasn't a massive headache. It helped that the aliens had done half the work already, apparently. Ray brushed her fingers along a sphere connected to another by a corded line. Your people seem tense. Hostile. Why? There were no pronouns, just statements of belonging and referring to objects. It felt ominously possessive.
You are a female.
The alien brushed its own orb. It didn't blink, but it shifted occasionally. Sorry? Ray watched the alien blatantly check its surroundings, turning slowly like a sentry turret. Its kin were attempting to exchange information with other humans of other professions, aided by scientists and diplomats of both species, but the other conversations had a blatant air of frustration. Humans gestured emphatically. Aliens twirled and blinked in a way that felt somehow prissy.
Stranger, do you have stupid members?
Ray debated, ignoring the statement. Yes.
High up?
Yes. The alien handed her some sort of book equivalent. It was just a sphere that was very, very heavily layered, obviously meant to be held by something larger than a human. Ray moved her hands over the topmost area, where there was a specific highlighted piece that was harder than the page layers. It took her a moment to work out the translation. They hadn't picked her for this mission because she was anything resembling a diplomat, biologist, or worldlender. She was just a linguist. The sphere-to-sphere device made the alien limbs brushing turn into an assortment of something resembling human-recognizable letters. When Ray pieced it together, she found a title. They have gender. No, they don't eat their young. Is this the actual title? She asked.
For the private, more aggressively offensive version, yes,
the alien replied. For most of the second year, after the aliens had stopped idling, the ensuing interactions had mostly consisted of probes zipping down to Earth and back to space. Ray distinctly remembered at some point thinking she'd seen a small object watching her working on deciphering an old text, seen one observing her handling her blind son, and finally having one of the drones just show up at her window at night. It had had a strange, specifically textured surface. A lot of other linguists had seen them, interacted with them, fed them information. Oh, how to ask? The drones, were those all the one in front of me?
Yes. Please help us learn more before some start a war.
The alien turned and stared for a long time at one of its kind, a larger one in one of the higher placed bubbles. Ray remembered seeing the news reports for the last 23 months that had more or less read, "Do we blow them out of the sky or keep waiting? Vote for this person or that person to help us flip the coin." The more sciencey feeds had been no more helpful until the alien probe missions, mostly speculation amounting to, "Please come closer, space investigation is slow," with some blatant plots to hijack the alien devices that kept getting shut down by Earth governments. She started asking questions. When the one concerning reproduction was met with the equivalent of tearing off someone's limb and tossing it into the sea, she realized this was going to be a very, very long process. One of the aliens wandered up to her, and the one which she'd worked out was called Your Dad. The second alien asked Your Dad something with a touch brush motion. Your Dad stared at her.
What? Ray asked. It wants to know what your reproduction feels like, and if it makes humans...
There was a pause.
Morally confused?
Ray was starting to wish First Contact to be more explosive. Actual war suddenly seemed less stressful. What did Dad say about the birds and the bees? She'd hoped it had been something really digestible and wise.